ते नाही आहे
His
माईक.
call is now being recorded.
ठीक आहे ठीक
हा
ॲज
येस
यू प्लीज तुम्हाला जसं
येस. So we are starting with linear wave theory. So our entire presentation is outlined like this, that first of all we are going to study about linear wave theory. Thereafter, different boundary conditions used in solving the wave equation. Then we are going to talk about the celerity concept for wave motion. Then water particle displacement. Then dispersion relationship. And we are also going to study the pressure distribution under progressive wave, then group celerity concept, and finally wave energy and wave power. Wave energy and wave power. Actually, for an ocean, the flow structure is divided into two parts. One is the main body of the ocean, and second one, the boundary layer, the viscous boundary layer at the interface of water and atmosphere, and second, the irregular ocean bed. So that real water waves propagate in a viscous fluid medium over ocean surface with irregular ocean bed of varying permeability. However, the main body of the fluid in the ocean is considered as inviscid. Why is this? Because the viscous usually concentrate in a thin boundary layer near the ocean surface and ocean bed. Since water can be considered to be reasonably incompressible, so that the rho, the mass density of water, is constant throughout the fluid, and also we consider the ideal fluid, so that both the velocity potential, that is we usually denote it as phi, and stream function psi, the units of velocity potential and stream functions can be expressed as meter square per second. It means that a water particle traveling with a velocity v in meters per second covers a distance meter. So meter by second into meter. So meter square per second is the unit of phi and psi. So that this velocity potential imparts energy to the wave, and these wave, or in the wave motion, the energy is transferred from one location to another location, and we can harness the wave energy, we can determine the wave power, and also we can find the wave forces for the design of various structures, offshore structures. Next slide, please. Now, the wave motion is like particle motion. In wave mechanics, a wave motion is studied by formulating a boundary value problem. What is the boundary value problem? When the governing equation of wave motion is solved, we get the unique solution of that wave motion equation, provided we apply the various type of boundary conditions. So the equation satisfying the boundary conditions provides us unique solution out of many available solutions. So that is called as boundary value problem. The various steps in boundary value problems can be described as, there are three steps basically. One, establishing a region of interest. So it is also called as defining the geometry of flow field. Defining the geometry of flow field. Then specifying the differential equation, which is usually a combination of either continuity equation, that is gradient of velocity potential is equal to 0, plus the linearized Bernoulli's equation, that is energy equation. So the combination of energy equation and continuity equation is called as wave equation. Wave equation is a partial differential equation of hyperbolic nature, and we can find out, our objective in finding out this differential wave equation is the velocity potential, that is phi. So how to find out this phi, we will see in the next next part of this presentation. Then after specifying the equation, we have to select one or more solutions out of infinite number of solutions which are relevant to a physical problem under investigation. So physical problem under investigation is a wave motion, and the usual boundary conditions are of two types. One is spatial boundary condition, another is temporal boundary condition. In spatial boundary conditions, if we take a control volume of a fluid or a control volume which is capturing the region of wave, then we get the various surfaces. Top surface is the interface between atmosphere and ocean water. Bottom surface is seabed, and there are two lateral surfaces, the incoming wave and outgoing wave. So we specify the boundary conditions using the particle kinematics and also the particle kinetics on the boundaries of a flow domain, that is called as spatial boundary condition. Another is temporal boundary condition. In temporal boundary condition, at time t equal to 0, we specify the various parameters of wave. So I will show you the sketch of the wave. In fact, so the various parameters you can study. So next slide, please, Aditya. So the most important fluid parameter in wave mechanics is velocity potential. As I said, the velocity potential can be expressed in the Laplace equation form. Refer to equation number 1. So equation number 1, that is gradient of velocity is equal to 0. This equation is nothing but a continuity equation. So this equation is a continuity equation, that is dou u upon dou x. If we take xyz coordinate system, that is gradient of u. Suppose the capital U, we take three components, that is small u along the x direction, then v, small v along the y direction, and w, small w along the z directions. Let u, small u, v, w are the velocity components. Let u, v, w are the velocity components in x, y and z directions respectively. And the unit vector in that direction is I, j and k. So the capital U we can write as ui plus vj plus wk. And if we take the differentiation of this velocity vector And if it is 0, it means that if the density is constant, if the fluid is incompressible, we can write that equation as dou u upon dou x plus dou v upon dou y plus dou v upon is equal to 0. Is equal to 0. Gradient of u is 0. And if we u is the gradient of velocity potential psi, the unit of the phi term here, velocity potential is meter square per second. And finally, if we substitute this value of phi in equation 2, we get the Laplace equation, that is dou 2 phi upon dou x square double differentiation plus dou 2 phi upon dou z square equal to 0. Equation 3 is a famous Laplace equation, and this equation is applied to a velocity potential. So this is the velocity potential. So every wave has got the velocity potential. Then we talk about the stream function. So for deriving the Laplace equation for stream function, we consider the flow as non-divergent and irrotational. What is the irrotational flow? The rotation of a flow about any axis, say omega y, that is the angular velocity about y direction, can be expressed as the difference between gradient of w velocity component with respect to x minus gradient of u component of velocity with respect to z. So that if the rotation is 0 about y-axis and xz is the plane, two-dimensional plane we apply for stream function, then omega y is given as dou w by dou x minus dou u by dou z is equal to 0, where the velocity components can also be expressed like the velocity potential gradient of stream function with respect to z direction. So negative sign gives you u component, and gradient of stream function with respect to x gives you w component. Here it is quite important to note that the unit of stream function, that is psi, is also meter square per second. Meter square per second. If we substitute the values of u and w in the equation number 4, it results into Laplace equation again in the form of stream function. So equation number 6 and equation number 3 are the two important forms of Laplace equation for a velocity potential and stream function. So in wave mechanics, like in particle mechanics, we consider the motion of an individual particle. Here we consider the motion of a wave. What is wave? A wave is a disturbance caused on the surface of water, which results into the displacement of the particles in both x direction, that is from left to right, and also in the vertical direction from the static water level, where z is taken as 0 in the vertical displacement. So very frequently now you have encountered with the word wave in the context of COVID pandemic. So what is wave? Wave is nothing but a disturbance traveling from one point to other point, and that disturbance has a peak, and it has a shape of sinusoidal wave or sine wave. So that we will see with the help of a sketch later on. Next slide, please. So in these two slides, so now regarding the Laplace equation, we will see in the detail the Laplace equation is applied to both the fluid parameters, that is velocity potential and stream function. and it is found that from equation number 3 and equation number 6, Laplace equation holds good throughout the fluid. So as already I have told you that a flow field is divided into parts. A flow structure is divided into two parts. The upper part is a sine wave and lower part is the main body of ocean or the main body of fluid. So main body of fluid is irrotational, whereas the wave portion of the fluid is rotational, because the fluid particles, when they enter into the wave motion, they start rotating. It means that if you consider a tiny fluid particle, a cubical particle, then the velocity of fluid on the top of a particle is higher than the velocity of fluid at the bottom of a particle, so that a velocity gradient, that is dou u by dou y in the vertical direction, exists, and that velocity gradient in the vertical direction causes the shear stress on that particle, and because of shear stresses particle starts rotating, and that type of flow we call it as rotational flow. Whereas for this main body of fluid, the right hand side is 0, but for the upper part of the flow structure, the right hand side is not 0, it is equal to vorticity. Vorticity is half of the omega, that is angular velocity, the equation which we have already seen. And another point about this velocity potential and stream function can be differentiated. We must note that velocity potential can be applied for two-dimensional flow field as well as three-dimensional flow field, but it is quite important to note that a stream function can only be applied for 2D field, not 3D field. It can be applied for 3D field only and only when the flow is symmetric about third axis. If x, y and z are three axes, and if the flow is symmetric about y axis, then we can define the stream function over the x and z axis. Now by this time you are very clear about the Cartesian coordinate system. So Cartesian coordinate system is x and z. X axis is a horizontal axis, the depth of water in the body of ocean and the height of the wave in the flow structure in the upper layer. The most important point about this velocity potential is that since the Laplace equation is linear, when we look at very closely at equation number 3 and equation number 6, in those equations there is no product term, that is dou 2 psi upon dou x into dou y. There is no product term, or a double differentiation is not multiplied by any other variable. So Laplace equation is linear in nature. Therefore, a very important property we can utilize, that is property of superposition. It means that if at a particular point phi 1 is a velocity potential and at another point phi 2 is a velocity potential. So if these are the two velocity potential values, and if both of them are satisfying the Laplace equation which we are discussed in the previous slide, equation number 3, then we can superimpose these two velocity potentials by using some constants, that is a into phi 1 plus b into phi 2 is equal to phi 3, and this resultant phi 3 also satisfies the Laplace equation. Next, Aditya. Next slide, please. Now, as in the solution of wave motion equation, we have talked about the boundary conditions. Friends, the application of boundary condition is a very critical part of understanding in the wave mechanics. The first boundary condition is kinematic boundary condition. Kinematic boundary condition is that there is a difference, as we all know from the engineering mechanics, between kinematics and kinetics. What is kinematics? Kinematics essentially deals with the motion of particle, so that velocity and acceleration terms are important in kinematics of any particle, so that any boundary of flow domain, whether the boundary is fixed or free, certain physical conditions must be satisfied by fluid velocities. So when we specify the fluid velocities at the boundary points, these conditions are called as kinematic boundary conditions. At any surface or fluid interface, there must be no flow across the interface. This is called as no flow boundary condition. So that a velocity component outward and normal to the surface, if it is zero, then it is called as no flow boundary condition. Where does this no flow boundary condition exist? It exists at two surfaces. One is the ocean bed, that is impermeable ocean bed, which is also referred as sea wall. So the horizontal sea bed is also called as sea wall. So at the sea wall, there is no flow across that sea wall, and also there is no water flow across the top surface of the ocean, that is interface. And the mathematical expression for the kinematic boundary condition may be derived from the equation which expresses the equation of surface. As you must be aware about the equation of surface, that is, if we take the equation of surface is in the next slide, that equation of the surface can be written as a function f of independent coordinates x, y, z and t is equal to 0. Equation 7 is the equation of a general surface, that when the function of the spatial variables x, y, z and its variation over time period t, if it is 0, then this equation is the equation of a surface. Now if we take a surface of a sphere, for example, then we all aware about the equation of a sphere, that is x square plus y square plus z square. If we substitute the values of x, y and z coordinates in this equation, we get the radius of the sphere a, and this is a particular solution of this particular equation. We get the direct value of radius of sphere from this equation of a sphere, equation number 8. For such a surface which is representing the interface between the air and water, so that the sea top surface, total derivative, which is also called as material derivative, it is also called as substantial derivative. It is usually expressed as capital dF by dt, capital dF by dt, which is equal to local derivative, that is dou f by dou t, plus the convective derivative, that is u dou f by dou x plus v dou f by y plus z dou f by dou z. So from that equation, if we force all the remaining three terms to 0, then we get minus dou f by dou t is equal to u dot n is a unit vector outward to the surface n cap into gradient of f, equation 9. So this equation 9, what it tells us that the physical significance of equation 9 can be expressed as the variation of surface, variation of ocean surface with respect to time is given as velocity into gradient of that surface. Velocity into gradient of surface gives you the local acceleration of the surface, that is minus dou f by dou t. If the right hand side of this term is 0, we can say that surface is not disturbed, surface is static. So that if dou f by dou t is equal to 0, there is no disturbance in the surface. Now it is quite pertinent to tell you one thing with regards to time, that a wave is generated on the surface because of a disturbance. That disturbance usually in case of wave mechanics is a air force. So because waves are air driven, but because of air force or because of cyclones or because of pressure, the waves are generated in the ocean. Next slide. Then equation number 10 is written. We know that we can substitute outward unit vector multiplied by mod of delta f as simply delta f, so that u dot n cap, previous slide please, Aditya, previous slide, yeah, this slide, so that u dot n is minus dou f by dou t upon delta f. So as I already told, what is gradient of f and what is mod, also you note down the mod of gradient f is square root of the square of the gradient x direction, y direction, z direction. Basically all these equations are important because the above condition requires that the fluid velocity normal to the ocean surface is related to the local velocity of the surface. If the surface do not move with respect to time, then u dot n cap is equal to 0, where velocity component to the surface is 0. Next slide, please. Next. Aditya? Hello? Next, bottom boundary condition. Now there are 4 boundary conditions. Quickly I will go through these boundary conditions. First is a kinematic boundary condition. Then we talk about the ocean bottom. The ocean bottom is given by the surface equation, that is the height of the particle, that is Z, is given as minus h of x, so that this h varies when we travel from left to right at different x coordinates. The value of h, that is impervious bed of the ocean, is sloping. So in the sloping bed of the ocean, the h value, that from a datum, the depth to bed is also varying, so it is taken as z equal to minus h of x for 2-dimensional case, and the origin of the Cartesian coordinate system is located at still water level L, and h represents the water depth. Since the bottom is a fixed surface, it is an impervious surface, so there is no flow across it, so that u dot n is equal to 0. Then we substitute this equation, that is the value of h in u dot n equal to 0. So u is written as, in the 2 components, ui plus wk. U is the velocity component in horizontal direction, W is the velocity component in vertical direction. We substitute the values of U and W as gradient of this surface with respect to X and gradient of surface with respect to Z, and we can differentiate the Z is equal to H of X, so that this differentiation is 1. So delta gradient of F is 1 into plus R into dH by dx. Equation number 23. This is the value of gradient of F. Next slide please. We are in the bottom boundary. Next. Aditya, next. So there are two possible cases. The seabed can be either perfectly horizontal, we can assume it, or it can be sloping. If it is totally horizontal, we can prove that the value of the W is equal to 0. The velocity component, vertical velocity component is 0. And if the bottom is sloping with the slope dou H by dou X, then we can take W is equal to U into dou H by dou X, equation 28. So note down these two equations. For bottom boundary condition, if the horizontal seabed is considered, then velocity of the wave particle W, small w is equal to 0 as per equation 27. And for sloping bottom, the velocity W is given in terms of U. That is, W is equal to minus U into gradient dou H by dou X. Next slide, please. Next. So we also apply the boundary condition to the free surface. So free surface can be defined as Z eta of X, Y, and T. So here you can also consider Y as a vertical dimension, where eta signifies the vertical position of a particle on the wave or wave height, eta. Eta is a fraction of the amplitude of a wave. If the total amplitude is small a, then it is a fraction. It is, say, less than a, that is the elevation of a wave surface. So when we try to know the displacement of a free surface about horizontal plane with the static water level Z equal to 0, the steps are similar as we have discussed in the previous boundary condition. We determine gradient of F. So here it is, there are two xy spatial coordinate, I, J, and K is assigned for time. Then we find out the mod of delta F. We take the division of these two, that is gradient of F divided by mod of gradient of F. That gives you U, velocity component, outward velocity. So in all the boundary conditions, we essentially specify the outward normal velocity, that is U dot n cap. U dot n cap, outward normal velocity vector. So for free surface, next slide please. For free surface, the most important equation is equation number 34. 34 equation says that for a wave surface, the vertical velocity component of a wave, that is W, is given as local acceleration, that is dou n by dou t, plus convective acceleration due to X velocity component and Y velocity component on a surface, which is described as a function eta of X, Y, T. So if you recall the previous equations, we have described is equal to 0. We have described W equal to minus U into dou by dou X. And in the third equation, we have described W is in the form of eta. This is for free surface boundary condition. Then next slide, please. The next boundary is regarding the kinetic condition. Here, in the previous two boundary conditions, we have applied the particle kinematics. So, in this boundary condition, we take into consideration the forces which are causing the motion of a wave. So, again, we are considering the free surface. So, boundary condition for fixed surfaces are very easy to prescribe, but for a moving surface like wave surface, the specification of boundary condition is really difficult because we do not know a prior information of the displacement of the boundary surface. Another difference between fixed surface and moving surface is that fixed surface can support the pressure variation like a solid surface. A solid surface can resist the pressure, but an interface, that is the ocean surface, cannot support the pressure variation. So that we must prescribe the pressure distribution for the interface, and that is called as dynamic boundary condition. So the pressure on the free surface, we assume it is uniformly distributed along the waveform. So everywhere the pressure is same, and we use the unsteady Bernoulli's equation to find out the value of W. So in all these boundary conditions, again I am repeating you, we are more interested in finding out the velocity component. So we are also not interested in finding out the horizontal velocity. We are more interested in finding out the vertical velocity component W. In fact, by using or by exploiting the boundary conditions, we also mean that we specify in advance the value of W at different grid points on the boundary. So this must be clear to you. Next slide, please. So boundary points, there are the specified values of W. Next. Yeah. So that in this sketch, if you consider the 2 points at a distance delta x on a wave, we consider the wave as a linear or a line with surface tension force at this point is acting in this downward direction, and surface tension is acting in the outward direction at point x plus delta x. So net pressure is Pn, and P is a total pressure. P is total pressure. What is the net pressure? Net pressure is the total pressure minus atmospheric pressure. The net pressure is usually, it is a gauge pressure, and we all know that wherever there is an atmospheric pressure acting, we assume that the net value taken. So question number 5 is which is linearized. If you closely inspect equation number 35, the second term in this equation is like V2G, kinetic energy. Second term is kinetic energy, V square by 2G. Then third term in the equation, that is P by gamma. In the head terms, that is pressure energy, This is kinetic energy, this is pressure energy, and G into Z is a potential energy. So Bernoulli's equation says that the sum of potential energy, pressure energy, and kinetic energy at a point x and at a point x plus delta x for a wave traveling from left to right, this summation is equal. That is, the total energy at point 1 must be equal to total energy at point 2. That is the essence of Bernoulli equation. And this term, that is dou phi upon dou t, if you closely inspect the very quick dimensional analysis of equation 35, you know that unit of phi is meter square per second. If we divide it by time, then it becomes meter square per second square. So meter square per second square, so it is nothing but the square of the velocity. So this is the velocity term. This square is also meter square per second square. Then if you take this pressure head is 0, this term goes out, and G into Z, G is meter per second square, Z is meter. So that this is also meter square per second square. So each term in the equation number 35, please note down, it has unit of velocity, meters per second square. And in the fluid mechanics, you all are aware that there is a term like V square by 2Z, V square by 2Z. So that V square is velocity square. So this V square by 2Z is nothing but head. So if we do V square, that is meter square per second square, divided by G, you get the head term. This is the Bernoulli's equation. So this assumption of a linear portion of the wave is applicable for only small amplitude wave. And here the surface tension sigma prime is taken as this tensile force T divided by L. So we know the unit of surface tension, Newton by meter. So it is the force per unit. So it is per unit length of a wave. So this dynamic boundary condition tells us that the force due to pressure, force due to velocity potential, force due to Z is balanced by the surface tension force at the ocean surface. Next slide, please. So, for the sketch, if we consider the pressure under the free surface as P, then we get the net pressure minus this surface due to surface tension, that is total pressure, and substitute this equation number 3, and we can write as if we take the gradient of velocity potential with respect to x, we get u is equal to dou phi by dou z. So we can substitute u and v. We can substitute for net pressure Pn by rho and the surface tension divided by into the differentiation of water surface elevation eta plus gz is some constant. This constant is a function of time. So this is the boundary condition from which we can find out the value of phi, that is velocity potential, in terms of the water surface elevation of a wave. Next slide, please. Apart from these three main boundary conditions, that is kinematic boundary, so summary I will give at the end of this thing. There are also lateral boundary conditions. So if you take a control volume, so on the left face and the right face, we have got the lateral boundary conditions for the velocity potential, and these boundary conditions can be very well specified by two equations in the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Aditya. So the velocity potential for the lateral surfaces. So x plus L, here L stands as wavelength. L stand as wavelength and capital T stands as wave period. So here I will specify these particular parameters of the wave. If you have got pen and notebook, you can consider the 7 parameters of the wave. Here I will explain you the wave parameter. First is amplitude of the wave. So you see in the x and z axis, there is a static water level. The axis parallel to the x axis is a static water level. So we set the datum as static water level, and we say a sine wave. The particle starts displacing in the vertical direction, and at some phase, a particle reaches the maximum height. So that is called as amplitude. So participants, please note down the 7 parameters of the wave. First is small a. So here in the slides, those parameters are not mentioned, but I will tell you small a is a wave amplitude of wave, small a, which is equal to capital H by 2. Where capital H is the wave height. So small a is equal to H by 2. So if the total wave height is H, then H by 2 gives you the amplitude of the wave. Then another property of the wave is wavelength. L. Wavelength is defined as, wavelength capital L is defined as a distance between two crests, or the distance between two troughs, or a distance between a phase change, that is theta is equal to 0 to theta is equal to 2 pi. So I hope wavelength concept is clear. The first concept is wave amplitude, that is small a. Second parameter of wave is wavelength, capital L. It is the distance between two consecutive crests, or the distance between two consecutive troughs, or in terms of phase angle. When one cycle of the wave is completed, the phase difference is 2 pi, 0 to 2 pi, 180 degree. So in the various points are at the intersection of the wave with this static water level, theta is equal to 0. At the crest, theta is equal to pi by 2. Again, the particle goes down and theta becomes pi. And at the trough, theta becomes 1.3 by 2 times pi, or 3 by 2 pi. And when one cycle completed, then theta becomes 2 pi. So that in order to complete one cycle of a wave period required is capital T. Write down. Capital T is a wave period which is required to complete a one cycle of a wave, wherein theta varies from 0 to 2 pi. This is a wave period. So we have talked about so far 3 parameters of wave. One is amplitude, second is wavelength, third is wave period, Now, fourth, talk about angular wave velocity. Angular wave velocity that we are going to see in the later part of the lecture, that is angular wave velocity, which is sigma is equal to 2 pi upon t. 2 pi divided by t. 2 pi upon t. Sigma is equal to 2 pi upon t. It is the angular wave velocity. And next parameter is angular wave propagation constant. Angular wave propagation constant, that is k, small k, is 2 pi upon L. 2 pi upon L. So these two parameters are very important. Sigma is equal to 2 pi t and k is equal to 2 pi by L. So how this 2 pi by t and 2 pi by L? So definition write down. Angular wave velocity is a fraction of total wave period, whereas angular wave propagation constant is a fraction of total wavelength L. So that to complete a one cycle, that is if the wave advances further by distance L, so to cover unit distance, it requires 2 pi by L, that is propagation constant. If a wave completes one cycle in capital T period, in 1 second, the angular wave velocity is 2 pi by t. I hope that these 5 parameters are clear to you. Okay. Then we make use of these wave properties in further part of this lecture. Next, please, Aditya. Next slide. Now, in the part of a lecture so far covered, the summary is like this. We have talked about a concept of linear wave. Just I will give the summary. We have considered the flow structure. Two is ocean surface of fluid. Then we also say that the main body of the fluid is irrotational, whereas the interface or the ocean surface is a viscous layer where rotation exists. We talked about the major boundary conditions, that is kinematic boundary condition, and second is kinetic boundary condition. We have applied kinetic boundary condition for a free surface, and where we have titled it as dynamic free surface boundary condition, DFSC, dynamic free surface boundary condition. We have applied kinematic boundary condition to two surfaces. One is seabed and another is surface, that is ocean surface, where we have called as kinematic free surface boundary condition, KFSC, and bottom boundary conditions, that is BBC. And for all these three boundary conditions, we have derived the equations for velocity component U and velocity component W. So our two-dimensional coordinate frame is X and Z, where X is advancement wave. Coordinate indicates the advancement of wave in the X direction, whereas the undulation in the wave are direction, that is the height of the wave is along the direction. Yes. coordinate direction, Z coordinate. The view the wave, it is why we call it a wave. Wave can be as undergo a range from 0 to 5, and it is reaching a crest at the top and a trough at the bottom, so that a particle has got a velocity. Some are in upward direction, some parts are direction. A wave motion U component is surfaces is top surface and bottom surface. Also about the equation, and when we specifically want the equation, and now we will see how the value of can be determined by using technique method of separation. So before that thing, I will talk about the assumptions in derivation of velocity potential equation. There are 4 to 5 important assumptions. First assumption is flow is said to be irrotational, so the omega is equal to 0. Fluid is ideal, it is frictionless. Surface tension we are neglected. The fourth assumption is there is a uniform pressure distribution. That pressure under wave is, as we have considered, like static pressure P, small p is equal to gamma into Z. So that is the static pressure, and there is also dynamic pressure. So the combination of static pressure and dynamic pressure below the wave surface is uniform. The fifth assumption, we have considered the seabed as rigid and impermeable, and for convenience and simplicity, we are not considered sloping seabed, that is dou H by dou X is 0. The seabed is horizontal. And most important assumption is that the waves, what we are considering, they are small amplitude wave. A wave is called as small amplitude wave when the wave height or the amplitude of wave is very, very small compared to its length, capital L. So H is very, very less than H, wave height capital H is very, very less than L. And last assumption is that we apply the Laplace equation. So here we apply the potential flow theory. So next slide, please. How the our object in the next slide is to determine the value of phi, that is velocity potential, from the Bernoulli's equation. This particular equation is satisfied for a flow domain with x coordinate ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity. So there is no limit on the negative x coordinate, and there is no limit to the positive coordinate for an ocean body. So x ranges from minus infinity to plus infinity, whereas z coordinate varies from depth of water below the ocean surface, that is minus d. Maximum limit is seabed minus. Why we have taken negative d? because datum surface is considered at still water level. That is, the ocean surface is a datum surface. So the depth of ocean below the still water level is negative d. So z varies from minus d up to the positive z coordinate is the height of a wave at any given point, which is eta. So it is important to note here z varies from d to eta and x varies from minus infinity to plus infinity. And when we apply the first boundary condition, that is kinematic boundary condition, we will be able to solve equation 44, combination of 43 and 44. These are the two governing equations of wave. That is, the continuity equation. It says that the wave flux, that is the net wave flux in x direction plus net wave flux in y direction plus net wave in z direction is equal to 0. That is, the energy of wave entering into the control volume must be equal to the energy of wave leaving the control volume. That is what the continuity equation says. And it is coupled with the Bernoulli's equation, that is the velocity head plus pressure head plus potential head. It means that the energy of wave entering at one point must be equal to the energy of wave leaving at some other point. So the set of equation 43 and 44, these are the governing equations. These governing equations cannot be solved unless and until we apply the boundary condition. So what are the variables in this governing equation? Please list down the dependent variables in the wave equation. Following are the dependent variables in the wave equation: u, v, w. u, v, w, or u combinedly we take velocity vector is a one dependent variable. Second dependent variable is phi, that is velocity potential. Third dependent variable is pressure. Pressure we can set to 0 because wherever there is atmospheric pressure acting at the interface, we can force it to 0. And fourth variable is z. Z is nothing but the wave surface elevation. So we want to find out eta. I will go in a reverse way. Fourth variable is eta. Third variable is pressure. Second variable is velocity potential phi. And first variable is velocity. Now there are four unknowns, and we cannot solve this coupled equation 43-44 unless and until we specify the boundary conditions. So we exploit the boundary condition. So the very first boundary condition, that is when the value of z, that is wave elevation, is equal to eta, and z is equal to eta, we say that pressure at the free surface is 0, as we are aware about this condition, that atmospheric pressure condition. At the atmospheric pressure, we always consider the pressure is 0. This is the first boundary condition. Next slide, please. So for the coupled equation, next slide, please, Aditya. So that we can write from equation number 43, the governing equation, eta we can express 1 upon g into dou psi upon dou t at a surface where the z is equal to eta. I think you have to focus on the previous slide. Just please go to the previous slide, Aditya. Previous slide, please. Previous slide. How this eta has been obtained. In the previous slide, if you substitute this P by rho term equal to 0, and if you substitute Z as eta, G into eta, and if you force these terms, velocities across the free surface are 0, all the three components. So the second term vanishes, third term vanishes, so that G into eta is equal to minus dou phi upon dou t, so that eta is equal to 1 upon G into dou psi by dou t. Next slide, please. So that this eta is equal to 1 upon G into dou psi by dou t. So that if we see the dimensions, as already I have talked, the gradient of phi with respect to t, meter square by second divided by second, it is meter square per second square, into G, the unit of G is meter per second square. So meter square per second divided by this meter per second square, we get value of eta in terms of meter. So you check equation number 46. Anybody from the participant side? Hello, can you speak? We can discuss, but also we can look at this equation. Unit of eta is meter, simply meter. So that this equation 46 and 47, they are applied at static water level, that is Z equal to 0, also at Z equal to eta. Next slide, please. So here we have derived the equation. Now we will briefly look at the solution of this Laplace equation. Here I will not go into detail of this method of separable. The basic Laplace equation, our objective is to find out the value of phi, velocity potential. It is a function of x, z and t. So in the method of separable, we can take the double differentiation of x double prime, its mean value, multiplied by, we keep the z and t as it is. Once we take the double differentiation of x, next we take the double differentiation of z, and the t value is a period which is either cos of t or sin of t. Then x double prime can be written like this and z double prime can be written like this. Next slide. This method of separable you can get from a literature. I will not dwell more on this method. The purpose is that we want to derive the equation for phi, so that we can write x as cos x is a hyperbolic function of x, and hyperbolic sin hyperbolic of and cos hyperbolic of x. We are interested to find out a and b constants and c and d constants, and if you substitute these constants into this equation, the solution of velocity potential can be written as a into z and t bar t in the original equation if we will substitute. Next slide. So finally, if we substitute all these values and we apply the two boundary conditions, that kinematic boundary condition dou psi by dou z equal to 0 at z equal to minus d, then we get value of c in terms of d, the constant c is equal to d into e to the power 2 k z. Next slide, please. Then we apply the second boundary condition, we get eta, and finally, if we substitute these two boundary conditions, the final equation is very important. That is, phi is velocity potential. Note this equation. Velocity potential phi is given as A into Z upon sigma into cos X K into D plus Z divided by cos H hyperbolic function of KD multiplied by, this is a phase angle Kx minus sigma T, cosine of phase angle. Now I'll go from right to left to tell you each term in equation 78. This is the solution of velocity potential, and this is the core part of all this wave mechanics lecture. The wave equation, the potential, that is phi, is a function of phase angle, that is Kx minus sigma T. As already I have told you, K is a propagation constant whose value is 2 pi upon L. So it is always associated with X variable, and sigma is angular wave velocity, or it is also called as angular wave frequency of a wave. It is always associated with time variable sigma T. So if you multiply K with the X, that is 2 pi upon L into X, you get the unit as angle 2 pi in radians. You can convert it into degrees also. Sigma, what is the value of sigma? 2 pi by T. 2 pi by capital T into small t. We end up with only 2 pi. So difference of this thing is angle. Cosine of a phase angle, write down, let phase angle is equal to Kx minus sigma T. So what is the phase angle? A wave particle, when it travels from theta is equal to 0, that is phase 0 to phase 2 pi, the angle varies from 0 to 2 pi. So various values. First value is 90 degree, that is pi by 2. Second value is pi, 180 degrees. Then third value is 3 by 2 pi, that is 1.5 times pi, 270 degrees. And 2 pi, that is 360 degrees. When one cycle is completed, this phase angle varies from 0 to 360 degrees. And when you take the cosine, if the angle is more, so can anybody answer me? The wave potential is high. If the phase angle of a wave particle is high, then what is the wave potential? Can any participant tell me? Yes, please. Am I audible to you, participants?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. Sir, थोड़ा सा आवाज नहीं होता है सब करेक्ट होता है.
आवाज कमी येतो का?
थोड़ा सा क्रैक होते हैं. थोड़ा सा क्रैक होते हैं सर. हेलो. 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 सर आवाज येत नाहीये तुमचा. हेलो. नाही सर, क्रॅक होत आहे बरं.
बरं, एक काम करू आपण आता देऊ, मी नंतर and we will resume at 30. Is it possible?
Yes. At what time, sir? Can you please repeat? 12:30?
After 1, continue.
1. Okay. So participant will take break.
Is it okay? कमी तोपर्यंत कार्ड पण आणतो पण
हाँ, चालेल सर.
अपडेट घेऊ. ओके.
We'll meet at 1 p.m. Okay. We'll take break here. We'll meet at 1 p.m.
थँक्यू कुलकर्णी सर.